Hi, everyone. Just waiting for the participants to join, and then I will also start presenting myself and also the session. Just a side note, you'll find a Q&A box below in the Zoom player. Please address all your questions there, and I will try to answer them the best way possible. So I will start. Hi, everyone. I'd just like to say hello to the people that are following us. Also to send my regards to EEGS for the invitation. And for the session today, the topic that we are bringing is the relevance of media buying activity in the affiliate space, right? Talking a bit about myself. So as you can see, my name is Andre Machado. I'm the responsible for the publisher side and affiliation for a company called Sportradar that I want to explain a bit more to those that don't know what we are doing, right? So Sportradar is a leading sports technology company, and normally we define ourselves to be the intersection between sports, media, and betting. As a company, we have a long way in this section or in this industry, more than 20 years. And we have specialists and supporting more than 90 sports. Regarding integrity, that it's one of the services that we are offering to sports right holders, to leagues, clubs, and federations. We have almost 900,000 matches monitorized and covering more than 20 countries, right? Our comprehensive data coverage is worldwide, right? And for that, we have almost 2,000 clients and partners, also almost 4,000 employees, and we are covering from the sports data perspective and the sports perspective, almost 1 million matches covered by year, right? Regarding our expansion, we are a truly multinational and worldwide company. We are a public listed company in the US. Our holding, so the group of companies is based in St. Gallen in Switzerland, but then we have also a lot of offices a little bit spread by the world, having, I would say, the most relevant ones per continent in Montevideo, in New York, also London, Vienna, and also on the other side in Asia, in Singapore and Manila. Being said, for the topic that is connecting us today, right? What is affiliation, right? When we say and when we talk about affiliation, the affiliation definition, what are we saying about that, right? And if we see the true definition of affiliation, we can easily get that affiliation is more or less a revenue model. So the affiliate model is, we can say that is a commission-based model. And with this affiliate model, with this commission model, we don't sell the products or the services in our own platform, so in our own website, but rather we are promoting that and we are going to be redirected to the customer, or we are going to redirect the customer to the original provider platform to make the purchase and earn a commission on that, right? So basically, it's a revenue model where us being a third party, we are promoting something, in this case, in the gambling industry, a game, a brand, a service. We are using our own platform or not, but we are going to be paid by them, right? So affiliation is nothing more than, I would say, a revenue model. And the most common commission plan types are the CPA. So basically, we deliver in our specific case, we deliver an FTD, and we are going to receive a payment representing that FTD that we have raised, or a revenue share deal that basically we are going to receive a percentage of the losses of that specific FTD, or an hybrid one where we are combining the both commission types, right? So by definition, what we can say is that we can run affiliation. We can run this specific revenue model in different digital marketing channels, right? We know that the traditional affiliation is coming from someone who owns the website. In some cases, this website was a promotional website with a lot of offers from different bookies, from different operators, right? But now we are facing a lot of challenges, and we can also apply affiliation differently because of a lot of things that we are going to cover today, right? So being said, if the logic applies in here regarding the revenue model, we can do programmatic buying, we could do media direct, we can do paid social, we can do paid search, and so on and so forth, and being paid as an affiliate. And we are already seeing this trend in the top affiliates in the world, right? If we have some time, and I'm pretty sure that you can do it, and we can dedicate some time investigating that, especially on the public listed companies and the ones that are public listed on the affiliates, you see that they are already exploring this. They have their own O&O platforms, but aside of that, they are already doing some kind of a media partnerships where they are using more or less this rationale, right? And the big question is, to sustain this media buying process, being as an affiliates, what can we do, right? How can we address this topic to a bookie, and how can we add value, right? And the simple question is, we can ask the brands and say, look, we are valuable to you because we can do this, right? And this is the opposition of what you are doing directly. Why this type of action, this type of a processes or model is also gaining some space in the market, is also because of expanding and the expansion of the gambling activities. Now we have much more regulated countries. We have much more competitors on each country, right? And it's becoming harder and harder to have and to secure all the investment if I'm an operator, right? If I want to expand this in Europe, in APAC, in Africa, and LATAM, for example, and also in North America, and if I want to cover a lot of the different marketing channels, right, I also need to find specific partners and specific added values in the market that are going to compensate me. And instead of me being investing in a CPM deals or in other type of deals, we need reliable partners, right? And I think this is also how and why we are seeing also affiliates getting the space in here, getting the space on the media buying activity, and also helping bookies more and more, right? But from my perspective, from a sport trader perspective, for us to be able to acquire a modern sports bettor, and we know that we have different trends regarding how the sports bettor is behaving today. For us, for the sports radar vision, the marketing solution built exclusively for betting and gambling industry, it's something that it's really important. And when we say the marketing solution, is not only the platforms that we have, that we are proprietary, but also the strategy that we have behind and we are supporting, right? So for us, we have 4 pillars. And these 4 pillars, if we can understand these 4 pillars that are basically based on 3, we can do it in a very rational way, even if it's from a programmatic perspective or from a media direct perspective, right? So first and foremost, we need to understand the audience. And with the deepest data in the industry that we are supporting, for example, but also some tech can also give you, we are understanding better to who are we delivering the message, right? And being said, we are going to educate, and we can educate the message, and we are going to be much more effective on that, right? That's the first topic. The second is the reach, right? With our proprietary tech across the right channels, we can touch the most relevant people in all, I would say, the curated supply, right? So having a specific DSP in our case, or having a specific DCOs for each marketing channel, and then talking about DCO dynamic ads, and in some of in the cases being also contextual, we are going to touch them to the segments that we have already identified, or to the segments that we want to touch. We are going to do in a more effective way, right? And then it's all about what we are showing and what the content that we are promoting, that it's going to lead us to the acquisition, right? So basically understanding the audience, having a bigger reach and engaging with them more, it's going to lead us to the acquisition, right? And all of this stuff that we are talking about is basically based on data, right? It's basically based on the way we are touching, if it's with a DCO, if it's through the right SSPs, if it's through the paid social, having the right keywords and the right landing pages, and also what are we showing there, right? And this is where we want to land, right? Working for the sports trader company and environment is also understanding the changing that sports fan is having, and basically we can divide the sports trader data advantages in three different verticals. First is the sports data. We are official data partners of the major leagues, clubs and federations, right? And by having that, we have a very content capacity of producing, for example, the right messages with the right sports messages. Because when we talk about messages, we can have specific gambling message, but also we can combine with sports content. And when we talk about contextual opportunities, for example, it's definitely having the junction between what we are showing, but on the right, in the right time and in the right place. So it's not only to have the data, but it's also put data at the service of performance, right? The next thing is betting data, right? So we are providing a lot of data, a lot of odds data, insights, trading services, and so on and so forth. So we also know what are the probabilities, for example, talking about insights, right? And we can also put these services in combined with sports data in a standalone thing, and combine with a specific offer. And then if we are wrapping up this, like I said before, contextually, we are touching the right user at the right time, right? Last but not least, the platform data, right? In some cases, it's hard to get the data coming from specifically the walled gardens like Meta or Snapchat and so on and so forth. But we using our own tech, the tech that we are proprietary. For example, we can also collect some data that we can also share, and then also do a deeper analysis, and then also to adapt in A/B testing, for example, talking about the DCO, and we can also adequate moving forward the messages and how the creative is being offered, right? So, like I said, I think the challenge at the moment, and when we talk about the media buying, is to align what we are doing being an affiliate, so having or holding this specific revenue model in what we called the ideal conversion funnel, right? I'm bringing this to you guys just for you to understand that we can come from branding to performance, right? If it's a more, I would say, general branding communication up to the last click of the performance, right? And then we can see that the journey of the user, it really varies at the moment, right? We can consume different points of data, and we are doing it already, right? So we are reading the newspaper, but at the same time, or 2 minutes after, we are going to be in contact with our Facebook or Instagram page, or we are checking our email, and we are also seeing a lot of different ads everywhere, right? How also the affiliate is going to connect or to align all of the efforts in this journey that the user is going to do is also something that it's relevant, right? So having and as an example, in the prospecting side, it's something between performance and branding, but also on the last click. For example, we can also join somehow our efforts, and we can also do this more or less aligned. If, again, we have in our side or from our side, we have the right data, we are communicating with the right audience and the addressable audience the addressable market that we want to achieve. It's targeted, it's labeled from somehow, right? And it's identified somehow, right? And using the right message and the right creatives in a way that it's going to turn all of this effective. And we are going to work on the performance and branding, like I said, right? So in the wrap up, when we talk about media buying in the affiliation, what I want to just to make a point is affiliates nowadays, we have the traditional affiliates and we have what we can call the model, and affiliation is basically a revenue model, right? And having this said, what I think it's important for us to rely on and understand is how we are going to do this effectively, right? So one of the sport radar propositions, and in this case, I'm not going to talk about media direct because we are going to explore media direct in a moment, right? Is having in mind what we are doing in the programmatic space, right? Like I said, we have our own DSP, and just as an example, it's a fully dedicated DSP for the sports industry. It's been built for that. And it's also having curated supply. All the algorithms and the traders are working in that direction. So of course that the results are going to be different if we are throwing our money and our campaigns in some generic DSP and some generic supply. Of course that the results are not going to be equal, right? And being said, the objectives in our proposal, they vary. It simply varies on the objectives that we have on the other side. So it really depends if it's on awareness, consideration, or performance. We can now work on what we call native programmatic display, video, but also everything is wrapped up by dynamic creatives, right? So how we are supporting that, not only with deepest fan understanding, like I said, coming from data, but also precision targeting and buying, having the right people that it's every day looking at a specific gambling industry, that is sports betting and casino, and also having in mind the dynamic creator side, the hyper-personalized engagement, and the insights that we are having and collecting, having a specific DCO, right? So just to wrap up how, and this is just a simple comparison between an iGaming DSP versus the current and general ad tech, right? So if we have in consideration features like sports betting and iGaming supply that we are covering against the others, supply safety and framework, because we all know that the regulations, they are challenging enough, and they are going to be even more challenging in the future. So we need to understand that. And if we are going to spend our money through, for example, programmatic display in other DSPs and DSPs that are, I don't know, having a lot of different clients from a lot of different sectors, we know that this knowledge, specific knowledge that we have, being based on iGaming industry, is completely different from what the others are offering, right? And this is understandable, right? Also having live sports targeting, this is also really important because as you saw, we have all of these sports data connections with the right sports holders and leagues, clubs, and federations. So we have a very rich sports calendar, right? And this sports calendar is also connected to our marketing cloud and our DSP, right? And then a lot of different features that I don't want to be too descriptive, but we have the subtitles. We have a lot of features that we are supporting, the first party data targeting, contextual targeting, behavioral, video player targeting, and so on and so forth, right? Being said, what we need to understand is what is the addressable audience in the display advertising. And I'm just bringing the display advertising just as an example, right? So we saw that through a DSP, so in a more programmatic way, we have the right connections to the SSPs. So the audience is going to be there. We are going to do the acquisition, right? But when it comes to what I can call the affiliate process, right? Because we now know that affiliation is basically a revenue model, right? Basically it's a triangle, right? In this triangle, we have the affiliate or the publisher, right? And this publisher, it's going to promote an online gambling offer and it converts to a customer. I can own the publisher or I can buy traffic there, right? And imagine that we are doing this directly and not through a programmatic platforms, right? Then the customer is going to become a gambler because he's now he register in the operator platform, it deposits, so it's converted, and then the gambling operator is going to pay the fee or the commission to the publisher, right? And what I want to make a stand in here is that again, the process is similar, the same if we are talking about having our own properties. O&O, what we call O&O, right? So I have my own website and I'm promoting this gambling offers, or if I'm just buying traffic, if it's directly or through programmatic platforms, and I'm also promoting betting offers, casino offers, betting messages to specific audiences, right? So one of also the topics that is also supporting this expansion of the media buying in the affiliate space is that we know that the audiences are getting more and more consumed, right? The markets are achieving a mature level, and the audiences are also following it. That right? So we are not in the beginning of the curve, but we are already in some specific geos. We are achieving the stability over the curve, right? Over the what we can call the market life cycle curve, right? Or the lifeline curve. So basically, everything that we are saying here can be done in a global publisher content websites, but also in the traditional affiliates bonus websites, right? But take it into a simple way. Let us go down to what we call the display of advertising on the media direct, right? So let us imagine that I'm promoting a specific operator, right? I'm having these specific deals and I'm going to do this directly, right? So I'm going to search for specific premium websites and I want to achieve better results. How can we do this? Right? How can we do that? Because I'm not using any kind of a programmatic platform that is going to be or to have curated supply, right? Because we will not have traders involved in that. So having dynamic ads and the contextual DCO is going to help a lot because this specific ad tag, it's going to do this search, it's going to apply this filter, right? So contextual and connected to the sports calendar, having a DCO it's really helpful because imagine that I'm seeing a post of Pepe Guardiola, right, in I would say, premium sports website in Bulgaria, for example, or in France or in Portugal, right? And my DCO is going to understand that that is Pepe Guardiola, so it's Manchester City, and it's going to show specific information for the next matches of Manchester City, right? Everything aligned with the brand guidelines and the mocks are, of course, approved by the operator, right? So all the information that we are going to share is automated, so it's marketing automation, and it's going to support odds and sports content in one piece, so it's in one single carousel. Having that, what we can do is having a specific DCO like this, we can look to the wider audience, right? We can say, look, having this in mind, we can do a proper wider media buying process because basically we will have new creatives all the time that are aligned with the sports calendar, and I'm not showing all the time the same thing, right? I'm showing different things to the right user, because if someone is reading Pepe Guardiola post, is interested on Pepe Guardiola and Manchester City topics, right? Or generally about football, right? So by having that, and not to be based on the same audience of one single website, for example, and this could be combined, so I can use my own O&O own websites, but an additional activity, we can do media buying, right? And having that, I'm adding to my reach new user segments, right? We are going to align interests and a different call to action, that it's going to be aligned with the interests of the user, right? And of course, that we can put this to work under the name of performance and branding, right? And as a result, we will have a better performance, right? So it's expecting to have a higher interaction through rate, because if we can compare this to a regular banner, of course, that interaction is going to be bigger, right? Because everything, we are talking about elements, and everything is going to be interactable. So interaction through rate is going to be bigger. The CTR is also going to be bigger, because more information is going to be put it at the disposal of the user. So the user is going to use that information and is going to interact with that. And also awareness, right? Because this must be done, but the stay on the brand is also really valuable, right? So it's a solid long-term value proposition, right? Because the creatives are not going to be, I would say, consumed by time, or are going to lose the impact by time, because they are not going to be the same all the time, right? So why we think about this, right? And just to remind, I will try to be short just to have time to reply to all your questions, right? We know the market pain points. So we talked about having the right data, this, not only the sports data, but the betting data, and also the sports data content, right? We know that we need to have the right audience, right? But we need something in between. And this something in between was not used too much by this industry. So the ad content variability was something that the industry was keen to have. So if we follow the trends, we will see even today, a lot of bookies, a lot of operators, they are using static ad content that is it's remaining without any kind of updates. So generically offers, they are there over days, weeks, and months, right? Without any kind of a change, right? And we know that the bigger its exposure, the hard is going to be this manually updating content, and it involves a lot of considerable amount of work, right? The other thing is the customer engagement, right? So we know that we need something that is going to encourage the user to interact. And it's not only to have these flashy creatives, it's having something that is also delivering through content to them, and through call to action, and through information that they are going to be tempted to click, or tempt to pursue the call to action, right? And of course, all of this is going to increase advertising performance, because if we don't have ad content variability, if the message over the time is losing the effectiveness, and the customer is not going to engage, or in this case is going to engage, so we'll have a better advertisement performance, right? So we know that for affiliation, and then again, let me just remind that affiliation, we are looking affiliation through the classes, that affiliation is just a type of a revenue model. If we could remember, we are being paid based on performance, so CPA or revenue share deal. So we know that hard performance is the art of affiliate marketing, right? And as a basis for monetization, we need to have a sustained and supportive performance, because performance is out the point number one. And if we want to add new channels to the marketing mix, we don't we need to continue to care about performance, right? And we need to follow the same rationale. So what is our engagement tool? Our engagement tool is the one that I saw that I share with you guys that you saw before, right? It's our DCO, the DCO that we are offering to operators, to publishers, and also to sports right holders. They all are using our engagement tool because with that, we can get a specific message and we can show to highly engaged sports fans, right? It's contextual. So it's reading the keywords, it's reading the URL. It's doing this by teams, but also by play, and it's showing specific gambling information to that specific user, right? It's being used in several and multiple ad templates, and it's providing a lot of relevant bets alongside rich sports data, right? We are supporting ad-to-ad data, market insights, and so on and so forth. So it's with that, we can reach the audience with premium placements, and this can be viewed in mobile, desktop, or in app, right? So I just jump this slide because basically we have touched all of these points, right? So it's with Sportradar with this specific offer, and I'm just talking about Sportradar because it's the example that I know, right? But I'm pretty sure that some other companies are doing more or less the same. But it's one-stop shop for the marketing needs, right? Especially in the affiliation, right? We are engaging customers with relevant ads, and this is really important, right? Because imagine that I'm raising this FTD, right? And I'm being paid by the operator on the revenue share model. I need to keep them to spend money because the more money is spending, the more money I'm getting, right? So if I'm just promoting a bonus, a first deposit bonus on the second hit that I'm going to have with that user, or the third or the fourth hit, the third and the fourth time that user is going to see my ads, is going not to convince them because basically he's already converted, right? So I need to keep communicating with them with new games, new matches, because I need to convince them to spend more and to deposit more money and on the games that you want to bet, right? And with this specific DCO, this type of DCOs, we are doing that, right? Stay on the brand is really important because it's something that is challenging. If I'm offering more content, we just need to do it, but not to forget what's the bookie that we are supporting, right? And this is also really important to maintain is the balance between branding and performance, right? And of course, it's outperforming traditional display if we can compare it to a regular MPU, because basically all of the features are there, right? It's contextual, it's dynamic, it's marketing automation, and it's connected with sports data, right? And also we can have a deep fan understanding. So having a DCO, a creative, we can collect data points. So we know where they are clicking, in which game they are clicking more, in which specific team, for example, and that in which specific platform, in which, for example, website they are clicking more, and for which sport. So we can also combine all of these data points and that we are collecting, and also adequate better the campaigns that we are creating, right? So everything we are already covering. The contextual piece, it's really important. Why we are always talking about this contextual piece? Because moving forward, we know the challenges that we are facing with the third-party cookies, right? And we know that retargeting is going to be a topic once the third-party cookies are going to be deprecated by Google. We know that it's not going to happen this year, but we know that the messaging needs to be clear and aligned with the context where it's being placed, right? So how are we doing that? Basically, we are using what we call the card system in this specific media direct, right? Because like I said, we have dynamic ads in place for social, but also for programmatic, and we are also expanding to other programmatic channels. But basically on this specific media direct area and business, we are using cards. So our product is based on cards. And we go beyond casino and sports cards. This is just some examples of the cards that we are supporting, and we can combine them. So we can decide for each campaign if we will have a pre-roll, and this pre-roll basically is a JPEG or a PNG image that the bookie can give us, because he's having a specific branding campaign, right? And our product it supports that. But then we can combine main casino games with top games, a specific promotion for sports or casino, and we decide if we want to have a specific sports DCO, a specific casino DCO, or something that it's combined both, right? And this is really helpful for all the verticals that a bookie has, right? But we go beyond what we call the casino and the sports betting area. We are also having cards that are supporting ticketing, merchandising, and streaming. Why? We see this as a need because we have this vision of 360 degrees, right? And we see the current trends that we are facing in the industry, right? So we saw, for example, the zone to open the zone bet, right? So we have a streaming platform, a streaming player moving to the betting side. We also saw Fanatics, so a former and a currently merchandising and apparel platform also moving into the betting industry. So we see all of these connections between what we called the sports stakeholders. So if we wrap it up between what we have in betting, ticketing, merchandising, streaming, but also the content side, we are wrapping up taking into consideration the sports industry and the sports alike industry, right? So in short, branding and performance capability. Why we are saying this? Performance, as I said, it comes with the product, the way the product is being built, the way the product is being structured, and branding, because we can align this 100% with the brand guidelines of the bookie, right? And this can be done in DCOs generically, but in specifically this one, right? We can deliver engaging marketing messages. So don't forget about the pre-roll example. We can support plus decide. So it's something that it's also having in mind the brand strategy, and we can align with the brand strategy globally, right? Also being an affiliate. So it's also increasing the brand awareness in premium publishers' content, right? So if we have our O&O websites, news websites, or bonus traditional affiliates websites, we can use this product in our website, but also outside. So we can reach the top newspaper of our country, and we can use this, right? And we are aligning the strategy, and we are having the same revenue model, right? And last but not least, we have different, I would say, attribution models, and we have high-end technological products, right? So in short, what we need to realize is what is the unique selling proposition, what is the potential, right? And having, for example, this 360 strategy that it's wrapping up operators, publishers, and right holders, if we take in consideration the media buying for affiliation, right? Why I'm saying this? Because potentially I can add the value to a bookie where I'm being an affiliate, and I can negotiate with them, for example, to promote specific operations that they are having, right, with a specific spot right holder, and then we can also adapt the message, right? So being said, having an advanced contextual and fully automated alternative to the usage of regular static banners, it's a plus. So a bookie will look at you guys and will say, okay, it makes sense to use this partner and to extend the partnership that we are having with them outside traditional affiliation, because they are adding value to our current chain, right? In the case of using these specific creatives, right? Having flexibility over the design, over what we are showing, is also aligned with the current market trends, because we know that the market is being very volatile, like I said, and also having sports data and sports calendar connection is also powering the performance and the branding, because at the moment it's impossible to forget about the branding piece, right? And all of the operators, they want to get results, they want to get FTDs, they want to have that, but they are not willing to forget about the branding alignment, right? And all of that supports it, or supporting general terms and conditions and legal disclaimers, right? All of this DCOs and our DCO in this specific case engagement tool, it's supporting that, right? It's supporting the terms and conditions, the legal disclaimers. It's adapt to change. If we cannot offer, for example, odds from a fractional way, we can do it by percentage. We can do it by money combined, so with potential winnings. But also, if it's the case that we cannot promote odds, we can simply cut that card from the DCO, and we can use the other ones, right? So, being said, and just to close the presentation and just to open for the questions, we need to understand that affiliation first is a revenue model, right? After that, we need to understand that we need to have data, and we need to look at the data that we are collecting, and Sports Radar in this case is one step ahead, right? We need to have the right vehicle to reach to the audience, right? And the right vehicle can be proprietary ad tag through specific DSPs, but also specific dynamic ads that we can use, right? And the side of that is the audience, if it's curated, if it's premium placement, and so on and so forth, right? Thank you. Right now, I will try to answer the questions, right? And I will read it by order, if you don't mind. We have 7 questions open, and I will try to explain, right? So the first question is, what are the most effective methods for tracking and measuring the performance of affiliate marketing campaigns in the gambling industry, right? I think it really depends on what you mean about tracking and measuring the performance of affiliate marketing campaigns, because we have both sides. We have the side of the bookie and we have the side of the creative, right? On the side of the creative, I think we need to understand interaction through rate and CTR, and also to have in mind the impressions that we are throwing, right? And we are collecting that specific DCO, right? And I think those two are, I would say, the top indicators that we are having at the moment, if we talk about media and media display, right? Because we have viewability in some other topics, right? And I think in some other channels, and I think it makes sense to understand what we are talking about. In this specific scenario and case that I'm presenting, these two are important. Regarding the performance in affiliate marketing campaigns on the gambling side, on the operator side, I think it really depends, but it resonates all over how many FTDs we are raising, what's the quality of those FTDs, so what's the money that those FTDs are depositing, what's the average revenue per user that we are having, so the called ARPU, right? What's the lifetime of that FTD, if we can map that out through the time, right? And I would say, generally speaking, that those 4 metrics are also something that it's kind of a benchmark industry. Jumping into the second question, right? Which are the key target audiences for affiliate marketing in the gambling industry? Type a message. I think the key target audiences, it really depends on what we are promoting, right? Because for sure that for sports betting, we can have a specific audience, and for a casino, we can have a different one. For a fantasy or esports, we can have a different one as well. What I also think we need to understand is we need to see and to check first if we have overlap over audiences, right? And this is something that in the majority of, for example, the group of media groups that they have a lot of websites. They basically they use a technique that it's basically the users are jumping from one property to another. So they are seeing today their news website, and after they are seeing also the sports news website as well of that specific group, because basically they are communicating together, right? And in the end, we are talking with the same audience. So having or applying a filter on that it's using DCOs and using this type of technology in the creative side, right? Definitely is going to be a filter, right? Another topic is if we are promoting in premium websites or in known premium websites, that's also something that we need to consider, right? Because through content, and when I say true content, it's valuable content that it's being written not only by AI, because we know how AI could be tricky in this case, but being written by people. Google is already paying attention to that, and we saw the recent quality rankings that Google is applying, right? And then it's decreasing some of the SEO ranking and SERP rankings in some specific pages, right? So yeah, I think it's hard to say which is the key target audiences, but I think we having or answering this way, I think we can address it better. Third question, right? What are the specific legal and regulatory requirements that marketeers need to be aware of when promoting gambling products or services? I think basically what marketeers need to do is to align with the operator. The operators know specifically what they can and what they cannot do. And then I'm talking about the regulated ones, right? And they are aligning with everyone, not only with the affiliates, but also with their marketing team. So basically, um, if you are using their own materials, so their own static banners, their own landing pages, I think they are already aligned with that. If you are using these specific DCOs, basically what you need to do is to have their sign off over the creatives. And that is also being done as a kind of a process, an internal process of this industry. Have another question. In your opinion, how will the rise of voice search and chatbots affect the way marketeers interact with potential customers? Um, I think it's not only about the voice search or the chatbots. I think it's AI. It's impacting everywhere, right? We also have in this specific DCOs, we have AI involved, right? We will have AI involved in the prediction of the numbers. So a bookie will going to be able to understand the lifetime of a specific user that you are bringing through your own creatives in that specific publisher. So he's going to be able to, for example, pay you more because the value of your client, the value of the FTDs that you are raising are bigger than your competitor. Um, Also, we see and we know a lot of new marketing channels are being impacted by AI, right? Um, for example, paid audio, right? We know that now we are going to be able to create specific audio creatives through AI engines and to display by that, right? And I think that is also going to impact the industry, right? The way we can create, for example, sponsored articles and put that at the service of affiliation is also something that it's already being impacted by AI, right? So definitely, I think it's the connection between the chatbots and another new tools somehow to communicate and interact with users are going to be impacted by AI, right? But in the end, I think it's also going in one direction, right? How are we using that? Are we using that just for performance? Are we using that as a kind of retargeting if we are collecting already some of the data that, and we can interact in a second position to that specific FTD? How how the operators are also going to use it is, are they using it at the service of retention? So imagine that that specific user made a sign up, but it didn't deposit yet. So the retention teams over operators, they have now new means to convert that sign up into an FTD, right? So definitely, I think it's a positive impact. So another one, can you share examples of successful affiliate marketing campaigns in the gambling industry that have been implemented using their platform or tools? In this case, mine. I think it's mine platform or tools. We are working already with a lot of bookies, right? On the DSP side, on the programmatic side, we are working with more, I would say, more than 80 different, currently more than 80 different brands right? So we are one of the references over the marketing services in the industry. From affiliation, we are working with the top bookies in the world, right? So campaigns, we have a lot of success exposure in Brazil, for example, and we know how important Brazil is at the moment, right? So definitely, yes, you can search. You saw the creatives that I was presenting, so they are fine. They are easy to identify. How will emerging technologies like AI and machine learning impact affiliate marketing in the gambling industry? Like I said, right? I think it's transversal. I think AI is already impacting not only the content side, right? For example, collecting data with AI, we have specific computer vision, right? So we have machines and computers that are collecting the information through images on motion, and by that they are transforming that images and that information into data sets, right? That's already being done. From the performance sides, DCOs like this one, right? I think this is also important because, for example, from an AI perspective, this contextual piece is already having a piece of AI, but also the machine learning, we are supporting A/B testing. So by supporting A/B testing, we are also putting the creatives in a position that they are going to display in a better way if we are giving them the right indications, right? And also these potential changes, but also on like I said, on the data side over the FTDs, the models are already being also trained in the way that they are identifying specific segments of FTDs from the operator side, but also from our side because we have some specific data if we are affiliates and we can identify this data, right? So I think I gave this answer before, but just to add on there. Can you give examples on how marketeers effectively reach and engage consumers across multiple devices and platforms? I gave already this answer, right? Through different marketing channels. Christine Louis, hello, thank you for the interesting presentation. Can you give examples for tools and resources that may help affiliate marketing succeed in the gambling industry? Christine, I gave already specific DCOs like this one, right? Like the DCO that I have presented. Specific platforms, programmatic platforms like DSP. Our DSP, I think it's also important because through programmatic buying, you can also have results and you can also expand your media buying activity. But also, for example, push notifications, we have specific providers in the market that are specialized on that. And push notifications, they have a specific performance if it's for performance or sustaining as a last touch in the funnel, right? Yeah, I briefly talked about those as well already. So to Christian, what do you think about the recent Google updates that hit a lot of affiliate gambling sites? What is your advice for affiliates to stay competitive? I was anticipating this question, right? And my answer was already briefly touched, right? Google is doing that also because of AI, because we are seeing a lot of abuse about the content that some specific websites. I will not map it out as affiliates, right? I think affiliates they are one of them, right? Because basically they rely on the revenues, right, that they are getting from the gambling industry. I think content is key, to be honest. And when I say content is key, is to have rich content that is not wrongly generated or wrongly passed by website to website, right? We need to have this uniqueness over content. We are seeing it already. We are seeing it already in some specific websites that we are selling sports API. We sell, as you know, sports data, so raw data, alongside with for example, odds comparison services as well. So basically, our clients are also buying these services. They are building a kind of the widgets, so the front end solutions for this, and they are displaying alongside with text these specific images, right? if we add on that specific DCOs and put that on specific affiliate pages, but also global websites related to sports, Google is not eating that because and is not punishing that because basically it's specific content that is being placed, right? So I think content is key. Quality of the content is going to be even more important, relevant, and last but not least, I don't want to. This is not a SEO and SAM session, right? But also, what Google is also penalizing is this backlinks usage, right? And I think in a generically way, I think what webmasters and website owners they need to be careful is how they are using a specific domain property, right? That is high ranked, and how they can destroy the reputation of that specific domain by using that as a backlink. I know that SEO was promoting those backlinks, but nowadays is some kind of a forbidden, I would say, garden, right? So, last but not least, Maria, how can affiliate marketers ensure that their promotions are conducted in a responsible manner that prioritizes player protection and minimizes the risk of gambling arm? I think that's not affiliates' job. And I think affiliate's job is to promote an aligned message that it's coming from the bookie, right? I think it's up to the bookies or the regulators that they need to prevent on that, right? So we are promoting a business, we are promoting a services, right? It's not up to us to somehow cut an offer or cut a specific message. I think that is coming from regulation, it's coming from the strategy, it's coming from the internal and political decisions of each operator and each regulator. And it's up to us to follow the indications that the operator is giving us and just allow accordingly and just aligned accordingly, right? So I think it's not our job as affiliate marketers to prioritize some kind of a player protection, right? But I think also if we are working with established operators and not shady ones, if we are working with the best operators in the market, they are already compliant, especially on the regulated markets. And this is also somehow a way of protecting our users. If we are talking about someone that is owning a website, right? If I want to protect my audience, I will work only with established operators, right? And this is also a way of me preventing of not being compliant, right? So regarding the gambling arm, I think that's a topic, right? But I think it's a topic not only with gambling, but also with tobacco, with alcohol, and so on and so forth. So I think it's not up to us. It's not up to the supermarket not to sell specific products they are selling, right? It's up to the brands and the regulators to do it. In this case, in affiliation case, in the gambling case, it's the same. So we are already on time. Thank you everyone for the participation. Thank you for also the questions that you gave. I think it was a very productive session. And if someone needs some support, some specific message, you can address your question to me through LinkedIn specifically, and I'll be happy to answer. Thank you. It was a pleasure.